This isn't a pretend. This is going to happen. Virtual reality will allow us to really be like the Matrix. We are going to have the opportunity to work with one another as if we're next to one another, even if we're on different continents. And I think that the thing that we'll need to focus on as we build that infrastructure is what are the outputs? Are they Excel spreadsheets, right? Are they drawings? What are people creating with one another that is the most important and that will exist across virtual reality?
So in 25 years, if we have no more offices, and we're seeing this trend today, my team is across the country. We only get to interact face-to-face a couple times a year. And, we use all the digital tools that are available to us. We're constantly online on GChat, on Gmail, on FaceTime, on Twitter, everything. So you have these multi-streams of communication, which are really important in keeping that kind of day-to-day interaction possible when, we're not all in the same office.
Well, look, people are going to get paid for the value that they bring, and just like in the office space now, if you're not producing and being productive and bringing value, then you are at high risk of losing your job. You're still going to be accountable to get the job done. I think the difference is that when we go into an office, there's a lot of wasted time. Just because we're in the office, it doesn't mean things are getting done. I'm a big believer in working smart, not hard. It takes a lot less effort to find the boulders that are on top of the mountain and give them a little nudge to start rolling downhill than to roll them all the way from the ground up. And I think as people learn to work smarter using the devices, the technology that they have, that they're going to be able to get more done in shorter periods of time. And those who don't, well, since they're accountable, that's going to be trackable, and we'll say, well, what are you doing all the time that you're at home? Are you just playing video games, or are you actually trying to get something accomplished? For me, I'm playing video games.
In 25 years from now, if there are no offices anymore, and by the way, I think there still will be offices, I think the offices will just be different. But people want to work, certainly millennials, want to work from home sometimes or work remotely. And it's the 21st century, right? It's 2015, it's not 1950. So people don't check in an industrial way and stamp their card like they used to in the old days. And modern technology and tools like Skype and video conferencing tools or WhatsApp allow people to communicate in a much different way. So I think in 25 years from now, I think the work environment will be very different, provided that people can access data and share information more effectively. And I just think that the people will be more mobile, and everything will be social, everything will be mobile, and everything will be in the cloud.
If there were no more offices, to be honest, for e-moderation that wouldn't make much of a difference, because that's kind of the way that we work already. Everyone works remotely. But I think what's really interesting is that you do need these emotional connections. You need really strong technology for things like video conferencing, so you can still see and look people in the eye. And creativity can actually be replaced by, instead of being in a room face to face, it's totally possible to use technology to do brainstorming, for example. So I think we wouldn't lose too much by having no offices, but we have to recreate those offices online.
For me, I don't really like working from home. I find it distracting. My home is my home. It's not a place that I really associate with work. I'll do some work there, but usually I want to hang out with my family or eat or do whatever, do some gardening. So I'm struggling to see that the home will take over as the new office. I think that there will be places and spaces that people come together, like in a WeWork type of way, or kind of communal workspaces, which aren't our homes. So I see that. I think that's more likely to be a scenario than everybody working from home. And in terms of being productive, very similar to what I was saying before, collaboration tools are good already, and they're going to be amazing. Imagine having a virtual reality headset on and talking to somebody with zero latency and very high definition, and it will feel like you're almost in the same room as them. If that happens, or when that happens, it'll be a very powerful way to work together without necessarily needing to be sitting next to each other.
Is there an office today? I guess some people still go into those offices. I work out of a couple of co-working spaces, And ultimately, I do hope to actually have a building where people come together. I think it's important still to have face-to-face contact, and oftentimes video is actually not a good stand-in for face-to-face interaction. It really doesn't fully capture the energy that we have between us that develops in a relationship where we not only share space, but where we share meals, where we actually touch each other and shaking hands and the kind touch on a shoulder. So what I think is really going to be happening with offices is the vision that we actually saw many years ago from Chiat Day and Jay Chiat, going back to that early Wired article and talking about the sort of co-working spaces where people might have lockers instead of actually having a desk. And we're already seeing that, of course, in co-working spaces and outposts around the country. You know, everybody's opening up an innovation lab in Silicon Valley now. But what I really hope that we see in the office is actually a better use of the space. I think that we're still holding on to some old notions of what it should look like.
So I believe it's more about the conversations and less about the tools, but I think it's going to be focused on community engagement. So it's the idea of public conversations being associated with data and those things being linked between the people that are having them. So it's leveraging video technology, leveraging public collaboration tools that everyone can kind of utilize and drive conversations.